Hi everyone, welcome to Ayumi Love channel for another Red Shadow Legends video guide. So recently I summoned Bad-el-Kazar from this 2x Ancient Summoning event last Friday, and I did some research on how to build this guy for endgame content, and I got some inspiration from a Red content creator, which is WN Trends, on how to build Bad-el-Kazar for dungeon farming as well as for leveling fodders. So basically, this ancient summoning event happened, started on Friday itself. Yep, Friday, and I got him on the day itself. So let's go through the index. So Bad-el-Kazar is from the Undead Hordes faction, as you can see him here. So let's go through his skills. So basically, Bad-el-Kazar has a A1 skill that enables him to heal himself as well as all allies based on the damage he has inflicted, which is 20%. Secondly, he's famous for his skill, which is to apply poison debuff as well as the continuous heal buff on all his allies and enemies. And he has a unique passive skill, which is a Prey Upon, which allows all allies to deal 20% more damage against targets under poison debuff. So this is one of the champion. The second champion that I'll be going through would be from the Lizardman faction, which is the Aox or Aox the Rememberer. So he has the ability to apply poison on his A1 skill. He also has a skill to heal all allies and additional healing based on the number of debuff on the target. And his third skill is the Weight of Aeons that applies the decreased attack and decreased critical rate debuff on all enemies. Okay. And he also has a unique passive skill, which is Steward of Time, which increases the duration of 2 random debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn when attacked. Alright. So let's go through how I built him. So let's go through with the first champion, which is the Bad-el-Kazar. So as you can see, it's has a quite unique look. So for this, I equipped Bad-el-Kazar with a Frenzy set as well as an Immortal set to provide him some additional healing. The reason why he's in a Frenzy set is whenever he takes damage from enemies, for every 5% HP loss, he will gain some turn meter. So this allows him to get to his turn very quickly and to perform his skills. This artifact set is quite useful against enemies that deals high amount of damage. Alright, so let's go through the artifacts. These are the artifacts that I equip on him. Okay, so here are the total stats. So the stats that you want to prioritize on Bad-el-Kazar would be HP, which is health points, a decent amount of speed, at least 210, and at least 2000 defense, and a good amount of accuracy and resistance. You need to have at least around 225 accuracy to apply the poison debuff, and at least 300 plus resistance to resist the enemy debuff. Critical rate and critical damage is not so important in this role because he mainly does all his damage through poison, which deals damage based on the enemy's max HP. Okay, so for the skills, the most important one would be to have this skill to be a 3 turns cooldown. Right, this one is not so important. Right, he has a cool aura which is increase the critical rate in all battles by 25%. And here are the list of masteries. I think there's 4 important masteries that you need to take off. Starting from the offense mastery, you need to have this Whirlwind of Death, so you gain additional 18 speed for 3 enemies killed. So, yep, you need to have at least 3 enemies killed by this champion to get 18 speed. Secondly is the War Master, so he deals more damage to the boss to take down the boss more quickly. Then for the support tree, you need to have Spirit Haze to gain additional 24 speed for 3 dead allies. Lasting Gift also plays an important role too, which increases the buff duration that he places on himself and allies. So he will have more healing through the continuous heal. Then another important aspect will be the Arcane Celerity. The more debuff expires, he gains more turn meter. So Arcane Celerity will be best to have it without the Master Hexer, because you want Bad-el-Kazar to go really fast. And Lay on Hands increases the efficiency of the continuous healing buff. So the champions will get more healing. Okay, alright, this is for Bad-el-Kazar. The next champion that I want to go through will be Aox, the Aox the Rememberer. So basically, I have him in Regeneration set and Perception. So Regeneration set allows him to get healing for every turn he gets, and Perception set boosts his accuracy by 40 and speed by 5%. So here are the artifacts equipped on Aox the Rememberer. So mainly the stats to be prioritized is similar to Bad-el-Kazar, which is the HP, speed, resist and accuracy, and a decent amount of defense. So here are the total stats. As you can see, Aox the Rememberer has slightly higher HP than Bad-el-Kazar, so that the enemies will target him instead of Aox to make use of the Frenzy set. It's recommended to have at least 65,000 HP, 225 accuracy or more, 300 plus resistance, and at least 210 plus speed, and 2000 plus defense. So the skills that you need to have him is all max. Okay. And here are the list of masteries. So I'm using the traditional route for support champions, support debuffer champions, which is to have the Master Hexer and Sniper. Sniper is to increase the chance to place the debuff, Master Hexer to increase the debuff duration, Pinpoint Accuracy as well as Charge Focus, and Swarm Smiter to provide Aox with more accuracy to land his debuff. For this one, the main focus is to get the War Master to do additional damage to the boss, as well as a Life Drinker in case his HP runs very low. So that's about it for these two champions. So let's see them in action. So let's go through the dungeon. I'll be showcasing these two champions in Ice Golem 25. So these are the champions to use with 3 fodders, so you can farm this dungeon while leveling up your champions to be more energy efficient. Let's start the run. So as you can see here, we are fighting against a weaker affinity. Currently Bad-el-Kazar and Aox the Rememberer are Force affinity, and the enemies are Magic affinity. Since they are weaker affinity, they do not have any chance to deal critical damage, and they deal less, I think 30% damage, and have a chance to perform a weak hit. So these two champions have a higher chance of surviving the enemy attacks. As you can see now, most of the enemies are targeting Bad-el-Kazar because he has slightly lesser max HP compared to the Aox. So each time he receives a hit, he gains a boost turn meter with the help of the Frenzy set. And Aox the Rememberer is applying decrease attack and critical rate to reduce the enemy's damage against these two champions. So the run will take some time to complete. The enemies are going down. The HP is going down because of the poison debuff. Alright, this is the first round. We are going through the second round now with the same strategy. So right now, Bad-el-Kazar have the increased speed from the masteries, from the 3 dead allies, as well as the allies, as well as the enemies that he killed through his poison. So he's going really fast now. The second wave is much more dangerous compared to the first because most of the initial hit or their nuking skills are already used on the fodder champions, but right now these enemies can apply those damage instantly on Bad-el-Kazar. So it's really important to have this champion to have a high HP to tank the damage. So let's wait for a while for the enemy to drop down. Alright, we are reaching to the boss stage. So in the boss stage, this boss stage has two sidekicks. The first one is on the left, applies the healing reduction, and second sidekick on the right side applies the decreased defense. So healing reduction debuff prevents this champion from healing themselves, while the right sidekick applies decreased defense that increases the damage that these champions will take from all these three enemies. So it is highly important to have these champions in high resistance to prevent from these two debuffs from landing. Usually the boss will perform a auto attack when the direct damage triggers his HP threshold, but using poison debuff, it will bypass that activation, so the boss will not do the powerful slam. Alright, the boss has like 30% more, 30% HP left. This is going down within, I think, 2 more turns. Alright, a bit more left. Alright, the boss is down now. So you can see the Bad-el-Kazar deals around 8 million damage from poison, and Aox deals around 1 million damage from poison. Okay, that's a bad item. You can also use this team setup in Dragon 2. So if you do not have any good team for that, you can go to Dragon, go to stage 25, which is Force, and use the same strategy. So right now we are fighting against neutral affinity because the enemies are also force affinity, the same affinity as Bad-el-Kazar and Aox. So having the decreased critical rate debuff is important here to prevent the enemies from dealing critical damage, as it reduces a lot of HP. So the same thing applies here. Those single target attackers will target Bad-el-Kazar because he has less max HP than Aox. And Aox will increase the debuff duration whenever the enemy performs AoE nuking damage. Having high resist here prevents Shatterbones from performing the decreased turn meter on these two champions. And also prevent this champion prevent the enemy from applying a freeze. Alright, now we are reaching to the dragon boss now. So basically it's the same thing. Aox applies the decreased attack debuff to prevent him from dealing high amount of damage. As you can see, the champion takes very little damage. And then it's best, oh yeah. Yep. As you can see, the boss also applies a decreased attack and poison and weaken, but these two champions have high resist that prevents those debuffs from landing. The only debuff that these two champions cannot resist is stun. The only way to prevent that from happening is to deal sufficient damage to remove that purple bar, as you can see previously. So if you have a lot of poison debuff, this poison debuff can basically destroy that purple bar to prevent him from performing the stun attack. Alright, the boss is down. So that's basically it. You can use this same setup for both Ice Golem 25 and Dragon Slayer 25. Alright, so you can also find the champions build on my channel, ayumilove.net, for Bad-el-Kazar as well as Aox the Rememberer. Oh yeah, here's a bonus clip for you guys if you have trouble working on Doom Tower. Let's say if you don't have a Vergis or Allure to decrease the turn of the boss, or Vergis to solo the Scarab King, you can also use Aox the Rememberer. So let's see him in action. You can just bring a few nukers to clear the first and second wave, and Aox the Rememberer will able to solo the boss. Alright, the first wave is down, second wave now. So basically how Aox can solo the boss is using his poison skill as well as his passive skill to increase the debuff duration. The reason why Aox the Rememberer can survive is he has the regeneration set on him that allows him to recover some of his HP that is lost. And he also has a skill to heal himself up. So each time the boss attacks him, he increases the debuff duration, like decreased attack, decreased critical rate, and poison. The battle will take some time. for it to complete. So the longer the battle goes, the more poison debuff you can stack up. This is one way of dealing with the Scarab boss. There are 3 strategies you can use. The first is to perform Decrease Tabita so the boss will not take any turns. The second way is to use the Destroy set to decrease his shield and HP. And the third method is to just nuke him down with poison. So the boss will just take poison damage and knock out. This strategy works best without using any champions that decreases the boss max HP, because it will also reduces the damage done by the poison debuff. Alright, so that's the battle using Aox the Rememberer in Scarab King. So I'm using him in Doom Tower Heart. So thanks for watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you can hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive any new notification on my upcoming videos. See you next time. Bye. Alright, before I forget, Bad-el-Kazar Build can also be used in Nightmare campaign farming, although it's slightly slower. But with this build, you can also use him to farm Nightmare campaign. So I'm going to the Brimstone Path, Nightmare. So let's say I choose stage 6 because it provides more experience points. So let's say I'm farming like 3 fodders. You can also use this method. So you can see the fodders has dropped down, but this provides Bad-el-Kazar additional speed through his Spirit Haze skill. So the more damage Bad-el-Kazar takes, the frenzy set boosts up his turn meter, so it gets more turn. Most of his damage comes through from poison itself. Alright, first wave down, second wave up. If Bad-el-Kazar takes sufficient damage, around like close to 50% HP, he can immediately take the next turn already to recover from his continuous healing buff and his A1 skill, the default attack skill. Also, having a high resist for Nightback campaign also prevents Lord Shazza from applying poison debuff, as well as Kaima Sleep and Alert's decreased time meter. You will still need to have a high amount of HP to prevent Dragster from nuking Bad-el-Kazar, because he deals a lot of damage. So this run usually takes around 2 minutes to complete all 3 runs. All 3 rounds. Yep, so it's around 2 minutes. So if you have a direct damage nuker, like Vegan, it will take around less than 20 seconds. So that's all for the video. If you have any questions regarding on the build, you can post your questions in the comment section or on my website. If you want to not miss any of my upcoming videos, you can hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you get notified on any new videos that I post. Alright, take care everyone. See you next time. Bye.